Hi, everybody. We're here with Michael Nashef. He's a mixed media artist, and we're going to be asking some questions today. So tell us a little bit about your background. Were the arts a large part of your life growing up?
Hi, everyone. My name is Michael Nashef, and to answer your question, Jessica, yes. So my background, I originally came from Lebanon. It's a country down in the Middle East. When we were kids, my dad owned a backpack factory. So we used to literally go work with him almost every day, even after school when we were done doing our homework. We would go down to the factory and either, do some like repetitive tasks such as like cutting, string cutting, folding some fabrics, things like this. So we used to do a lot of that kind of stuff, and it was a lot of fun because I learned so much from it. And majority of my problem-solving skills came from working with my dad in the factory, and it was fun time. Except that when when we were growing up, we had some wars back in Lebanon, so that's when we had to immigrate here. And that kind of actually stopped. So for the, 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 the backpack factory stuff started from when we were little all the way till we were like about, I would say 11 or 12 years old. And after that, because of war, things stopped. So I wasn't, although I still liked arts, but I wasn't really involved in it / doing any of it anymore because we were just moving from one area to another. And yeah, I mean, he's been a big part of what I've learned and how I used to do things or whatever. So this ended up being like really influential on my on my work and the way I do things. So yeah.
Well, that's great. Was your decision to work professionally in the arts always a given, or did it kind of evolve on its own? Or did you have a moment where you knew that's what you wanted to do?
No, it wasn't always a given. I actually, when I immigrated here to the States, I started going to college and I was studying computer science. Meanwhile, though, I was actually working as a jewelry bench repair guy for a person that I know. And I was really interested in that craft. Like I really enjoyed, how hands-on it was, how it gets you to be, to create and do problem solving for jewelry pieces and so on. And what happened was I end up finding a position or a new program that opened in Grand Rapids, Michigan, in Kendall College. So I went there to check it out, and I really enjoyed the whole school, the program, what they were trying to do, and so on. So I was like, you know what? I don't really want to do computer coding. I don't want to sit in a cubicle and type all day. So I actually switched majors, went up there, and finished my 4-year degree in jewelry and metal design, and that's basically kind of how it started. And I wasn't even at that time, even when I graduated, I still was going into the direction of craft / just being a bench jeweler, but I never really, uh, you know, like it wasn't the plan for me to jump right into doing all, like doing strictly art stuff. It wasn't planned for. This is something that just happened naturally without even trying to push it. And it was a lot of fun. I really enjoy what I'm doing right now. And I'm glad that I did choose this direction.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, it's definitely really cool to hear that it just kind of organically happened on its own instead of, forcing it or being forced into it?
Right. I mean, so, you know, to give you a little bit of background, like what happens sometimes, especially coming from the Middle East, oh, you know, you want to be an engineer, you want to be a computer scientist, you want to be a doctor, and so on. And all my life since I was little, I enjoyed arts, did arts, but again, because of war, this kind of like slowed down a little bit. But then I kind of rediscovered that when I got older and I came here and I had the freedom to do what I want to do. You know, that's what I was saying, that initially, before I even started doing art stuff, I was studying computer science because I was like, okay, maybe I like computer and this would be good. But when I started doing art, I was really interested more in it and I wanted to explore it more and be more involved in this. And that's when I switched gears and direction.
Great. Can you briefly discuss the path that you've taken through educational and work experience to get to where you are now? I know you kind of touched a little bit on that, but if you can go a little more in depth on it.
Yeah. So as of right now, I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Jewelry and Metal Design, and I have a Master's of Fine Arts in Jewelry and Metal Design. But between the first and the second, there is, I would probably say, close to 10 years. So initially, I graduated from Kendall with my B.F.A. I was very happy and satisfied with my degree. I worked as a jewelry store manager, as a jewelry designer. I did my own work. I sold my own work. And everything was great. And then for a little while after that, I actually started teaching. One of my older professors from Kendall, Phil Renato, he actually called me and asked me if I would be interested in teaching a class. And I started teaching the classes up there. And the more I taught, the more interested in teaching I was. And I found out that I have like a lot of I have a knack for it, and I really enjoyed giving, you know, whatever knowledge I had to students and to fellow colleagues and so on. So I want to explore it more, and I found out that okay, if I want to be a teacher at the university slash college, I would need to have a master's degree, and that's when I went actually back in 2016. 2016 to Bowling Green University under Tom Muir. And I got my master's degree. At that point, I've been in the jewelry slash metals industry for almost 18 years at that time. So I knew a lot of stuff, but I want to grow conceptually. You know, going to a master's degree, yes, you learn a lot of techniques, but mainly, you know, you kind of learn it or you try to learn it on your own, but it's more growing conceptually as opposed to technically. So I want to do that, and I want to kind of gear my work more toward conceptual as opposed to just crafts and making stuff. So I did my master's there. I had a great show, what I think was a great show. It's been going well since then. I taught at Maryland University in Towson for a year, but because of family, I had to actually move back here to Michigan. And currently I teach at the Kalamazoo Institute of Art, and I do a lot of workshops.
Awesome. That's great to hear. You were actually supposed to be at my school that I just graduated from this summer. So I was actually planning to take your workshop at some point.
Yeah. Which one was that?
Tennessee Tech's Appalachian
Yeah.
Center.
Yes, I was so looking forward for it. I was super excited to go down there and teach. I heard it's a beautiful place, number one. And I was very excited, but sadly, because of COVID, you know, kind of put a damp on all of the what's going on with the workshops. So, but I'm doing a couple other virtual workshops right now. We're going to be doing that, and we're looking forward to the next year to hopefully host these workshops and do them.
Yes, most definitely. Are there any failures in your life or any missed opportunities that you can think of that maybe pushed you to achieve progress in your work or career?
Um, it, I mean, we all have failures, right? Failures. What we try to do from that is to learn from it, get more experience, hopefully redo it again and do it better. Um, I can tell you one thing that one of the stuff that I like to do is I like to be perfectionist in my work. Like if I'm doing anything, it has to be just perfect. And sometimes this is really tasking. Like it will take too much time where I hadn't planned for it, and or effort or money or whatever. So what I've learned is, and sometimes because of that, I would not deliver on time, or the project times come up and like I can, it's not done because it's not the way Michael wants it to be. So what I end up doing, actually, I kind of taught myself, and one of the things that my show was about in my in my master's was to kind of relinquish control and the ability to, you can't control everything. Sometimes things gonna go in a certain direction and you just need to adapt and move that way. So and that's what I do with my recent work, is I still like to showcase my craft, showcase my the pieces that I do, and have them done to perfection the way I like them. But then when I'm done with them, to kind of put myself or teach myself like, okay, nothing is really perfect. I actually will damage them, and I will break them in a manner or in a way where I kind of lose full control of what's going on, and that's basically what will happen. Or I'll showcase my end result, and you probably have seen some of my vessels that I have and make and produce. So and that's basically what I do. But yeah.
Very cool. In retrospect, is there anything you tell your younger self regarding these failed opportunities or just failures in general?
Um, what I would say, it's more like an advice to my younger self, is to really listen. So as artists, right, we always want to do what we want, right? We always want to, like, oh, I like it this way, I want to do it this way. And like, you have a vision and you want to follow that vision. What I would advise myself, or anyone else for that matter, is talk to people, listen to their crit, um, be open-minded, and try to absorb everything they tell you, right? And then when you do that, take that, process it, see what you like from what they recommended. If they told you like, oh, you know what, you need to, let's say, polish this, or you need to change the color of that, or whatever, don't object right away. Say, no, 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 I want it to be this color, or I want it to be this this texture, or whatever. Listen to what they say, take it in, maybe try to substitute the color or whatever, see if that works. Because what happens is, sometimes when we are doing something, we tend to be so involved and focused, we just lose, like, we see one thing and we think that this is the thing that needs to be done. But what we need to do is step back, listen to what the crits or your friends or your colleagues or your family or whatever, whoever is talking to you, listen to that, take it with a grain of salt, maybe try to do what they are saying, and then decide if you like that direction or not. And this way, that if you don't like that direction, you know why. You could tell them like, okay, yes, you told me to go with the red color, but you know what? I tried it. it does not look good, I'm gonna go with my gut and go with that color, right? So that would be my advice: is listen to what your teachers, instructors, colleagues, family, they are telling you. Take that crit, with a grain of salt, and think about it, let it simmer a little bit, and then if you don't like it, do what you want to do.
Yeah, I can attest from personal experience. That's great advice, because I have gotten into tunnel vision before, and sometimes it's nice to hear these words from other people and just kind
Yeah.
of absorbing them and taking them in, and maybe introspection a little bit, and then thinking about where you want to go next. And even if you do try it, like you said, you can always go back and change it.
Right, exactly. And sometimes, we get stuck on things like, if you get stuck, leave it, go do something else, come back to it. And, it's again, try it. And don't just say, no, I don't want to do that because that's what I want to do. Try it, put it maybe, like put it next to it, juxtapose it, against something else or whatever. And if that doesn't work, then go ahead and do what you were going to do anyway. Right?
Exactly. So how were you introduced to Touchstone specifically?
Um, Great question. I got introduced to Touchstone in October 2016. During the M.F.A, I was doing my M.F.A in Bowling Green, and Tom Ewer said there's this great uh, uh, conference that they do. I think it was called. They changed the name, but now it's Alchemist Picnic, right?
Yes.
But it was kind of one of my first, conferences slash, get together for artists. I didn't know what to expect because it was like the first time I do that. I didn't really have a lot of like artist friends slash colleagues who are in, the realm of doing art work yet. So I go up to Touchstone, and that's how I got introduced to Touchstone. I was super surprised by the location slash how, like, first it was away from everything, but at the same time, like, you had everything in that area, right? So you will get to, there was, that I saw that there was a glass studio, ceramic studio, metal, blacksmithing, you name it. It was all there. So I was very excited. I had a lot of fun. They had the bonfires, they had the pizza, the wood fired brick oven pizza. The food was great. So my experience there was really, really good. That since then, since 2016, I've been up there all the time. And I drive from Michigan. It's almost a 8-hour drive for me. So I drive from Michigan, Kalamazoo, Michigan. So that's quite a drive. But I make sure every year I go up there, and yeah, I love it. It was awesome.
So how have organizations such as Touchstone shaped your artistic endeavors?
Oh, yes. Um, I met a lot of people through Touchstone. I've got introduced to so many people, and as I mentioned, it was my first big experience in the art conference, and from there it trickled down. Like, I've been to so many right now, I can even count them. But Touchstone was one of the first ones I went to, but it was the first one like start introduce. Like, the size of it is great because it's not intimidating, especially for metalsmith people, right? So we have like the ceramics people, they have the NCCA, metals people, they have the snack conference. So snack conference is huge, it's big, it's too much, right? You will get lost. But with the Touchstone one, it's a little bit more homey, it's a little bit more friendlier. You will meet and get to know everyone. So the way they shaped it is I met a lot of people, a lot of artists, a lot of instructors, and from there our relationship just expanded, and you know in the art realm, it's all about, I'm not gonna say it's all about who you know, but it's about connection. This is why we do these things, to meet new people, to know what is out there. From it, for instance, I have, just give you an FYI, I have a solo show coming up in October that the person who invited me, I met them in Touchstone in 2016. So like my career right now is pretty good. My work is out there. Last year I had, or in 2019, I had 15 exhibitions for my work. And so I'm doing okay, but still, like, even the person that I met, they kept on, following my work, and I got invited to do a solo work or solo exhibition at their university, including presenting and talking to, to the class and doing demos and so on. So, that led from Touchstone. So
Yeah, it's amazing how these little things can
yeah.
really, and they can maybe not happen very immediately, but later down the road, they can really have a big influence in your career.
Yeah, and one of the things that you don't think about is that when you are in bigger conferences, or like, when these conferences are really, really big and huge, you don't get to meet the influential people on, person to person basis, because they are actually meeting with their friends, right? But when you are in a smaller setup, such as Touchstone or any, and I'm not trying to belittle Touchstone. All I'm saying is, like, slightly smaller setup than the bigger ones, you will get to meet these big influential people on a more relaxed atmosphere slash environment. So you will get to know them more, and they will ask you more questions, so you could tell them, like, yeah, I do this and I do that, and I work in metals and I work with concrete, or whatever the case is. So you'll end up knowing the person more on a more better level. Yeah, personal level. Yes, thank you.
So is there an ultimate goal or a lifetime pursuit that you are trying to obtain, or that you're still working towards right now?
For me, yes. I want, and I got my master's to hopefully get a tenure track / teaching job. Which I did, but the first one I got wasn't really suited for me, and the location and so on. So hopefully things will change. Right now, because of COVID, everything is up in the air. Currently, one of the things, and I'm not worried about it, because one of the things that I've done is I invented a small tool that I sell to jewelry makers, and that's really providing enough food / money for me. But my ultimate goal to hopefully be able to teach at a university setup. But if that doesn't happen, I'm not worried about it. I'm one of the recent goals that I accomplished was I got invited to teach at Penland, which, woohoo!
Yeah, that's awesome.
That was one of, like, the next goals. Like, I've taught at Touchstone. I had the appellation, but it didn't work. I've had multiple other places, but Penland was was on my list of places, and hopefully it will be going. We'll be doing that soon. So we'll see next year, maybe.
Yes.
But yeah, these are my immediate goals at least for now.
So do you have a legacy that you want to leave behind that will influence and inspire future generations of artists?
Well, that's kind of tough to say. It's not for me to say if I leave a legacy or not.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe my colleagues will think so. I will try. I'll do it. I'll give it my best. I'll do the work that I want to do. I'll do the work that I like to do. I could tell you that I will always work hard. I like working hard. I like to create pieces slash design slash craft that I am proud of. And hopefully, if I do that, it will end up being a legacy. And if that doesn't happen, it's okay. I'm living my life in a good way, normally in a happy way. So I'm okay with that. But hopefully there will be a legacy that I will leave. Yeah, absolutely. It would be great.
So, as our parting question, what words of wisdom would you share with aspiring artists?
Um, Aspiring art. I know things sometimes get tough, but I will tell them that if you work hard, you will do good. If not now, it's going to be down the road. Eventually, luck will change. Whatever you believe in, things will change. My word would be to them is work hard, um, master your craft. I think that's super important. If you want to learn something, learn it and keep repeating it till you get it. The better you master your craft, the better you're going to be at it, the more understanding you'll have of that craft slash, art that you're doing. Um, I, at least that's my philosophy. If I'm doing CAD work, I go all crazy on my CAD work. If I'm learning how to do, like recently my work has metal and concrete in it. I've been working on it super hard. Like I've been using different materials, experimenting, testing to the point where, people now call me to ask me like, okay, would this work? And I'm like, I am a concrete expert, but I'm not concrete expert in even building. Like I do concrete in jewelry, that's it. So, but the point is like, just push yourself, master your craft, and everything else will line up. I think that would be my recommendation and my word.
Very sound advice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.